Something that came up in the Pro Organizer Bootcamp Facebook group today is this person was wanting to completely rebrand, revamp, redo their entire website. Something for me in the past has always been my website as my crutch. Basically, that is where I go when I'm like, things aren't working, I'm not getting leads, my pipeline is drying up, stuff isn't working, what do I do? And then I go into website mode. This is back in the day, like 5 years ago, before I learned the actual statistics of SEO, which we'll get into here in a minute, bounce rates, all that good stuff. But when you're looking at your Pro Organizer website, it's three things. One, do you have Google Analytics installed? So Google Analytics is huge. Metrics are key. Data tracking is key. If you don't know your data, if you don't know your bounce rate, if you don't know how long somebody's spending on your website, if you don't know what the drop-off points are, for example, they go to one tab and that person doesn't stay there. They don't book you. They don't go through your consultation pipeline, all that good stuff. Then those are things to assess instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater and going, oh my gosh, I'm going to go hire somebody and pay them $1,000 or more to make me a whole new website or rebrand my entire, logo and fonts and colors and all that good stuff. Very rarely are those the actual problems, right? So visibility is huge when you're trying to get more leads as a professional organizer, as any home service-based business, right? Plumbers, electricians, pest control businesses, housekeepers, landscapers, all that good stuff. You want to make sure that you are visible on Google. Make sure you have a Google business profile, previously known as Google My Business page, right? You want to make sure that you are gathering those reviews, that you're ranking in search, that you're maybe listed on other service pro marketplaces like Thumbtack, Angie, Nextdoor, Find My Organizer, Yelp, all that good stuff, right? So you want to make sure that when somebody in your local area types in home organizer near me or professional organizer and then, zip code, blah, 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 right? That your page is showing up. Typically, that's going to be your Google page. Now, if you're wanting your website to rank, you've got to get to know the basics of SEO, which is search engine optimization. So if you think of the number one search engine in the whole world is Google, right? So you're optimizing the consumer's search. So when the consumer's going in there and saying pro organizer near me or home organizer 92129 or whatever zip code, they're going on there and you want to make sure that you're ranking, whether that's on Google, Yelp, Find My Organizer, Thumbtack, Angie, all of those things that pop up first. Very rarely you're going to have your actual website pop up, but I have seen it happen with newer organizers. Web crawls are a big thing that take time, right? So it takes time when you have a brand new shiny Pro Organizer website, when you're a newbie, when you're just getting started, and you're like, okay, if I build it, they'll come, right? If you build it, they won't come. You have to actually optimize all of your SEO on the back end. And so one thing that I definitely encourage you to take a look at is Google Analytics. It's free to install. There's plenty of YouTube videos if you just search how to install Google Analytics on my website. There's different coding options for whether you have WordPress or Squarespace or Wix, which is my favorite. Super easy. I know that coding sounds like, oh my gosh, that's so techy. How do I do that? Watch a few YouTube videos on it. Go to the Google Analytics support pages on how to install it on your website. But once that's installed, it's going to take a couple months to collect data. Say, give it, 30, 60, 90 days to be able to go back in there, look at your data and see, okay, what's my bounce rate? What is a bounce rate? Bounce rate means when you, as a consumer, go to any website, say you go to threadup.com or you go to fashionnova.com, how long are you actually spending on the website? Is it drawing you in? Are you captivated by what's there? Are you wanting to buy? Is there a clear call to action? Do you have a clear purpose on being on that website, right? So typically when folks are looking for service pros to do work in their home, like a home organizer, they're going to go onto your website and be browsing around. Maybe they're looking at 3, 4, 5 other organizers in your area. They're probably finding your website from your Google page. That's kind of the first step. Then they go to your website. Occasionally they'll go to your social media just to vet you out and say, okay, her Instagram feed, blah, blah, blah. She looks legit. She has a few Facebook posts, whatever, right? But again, that's a whole other story for another day as far as why I don't think you should be relying on social media for your leads. But back to the website, when you're looking at your Google Analytics, you'll get to know your bounce rate. So are people staying on there, or are there drop-off points where there's no clear call to action? There's no option to book a consultation with you right then and there. If you have like a contact form on your website, typically folks will fill those out and then not remember who they contacted, fill those out and then feel defeated. Like, okay, well, I did all this research. I found this person I want to work with. Now they have this uncertainty of if you're ever going to actually reach back out to them. They might forget, again, they might submit 5, 6, 7 contact forms to all of these different pros when they're frazzled and wanting to get some work done in their home. And if their information is going off into a black hole and they're not actually getting an action item, a deliverable on their calendar that says, you're going to be chatting with Melissa tomorrow at 11 a.m., they can check that box off in their disorganized ADHD, ADD, OCD brain, right? And say, okay, I did the action. I went online. I found the person I want to work with. I reached out to her. We're talking tomorrow, right? Or we're talking on Friday. So all of that being said, get to know what SEO means. Do your research. Join our Facebook group. There's a bunch of articles and resources and stuff in there for you. YouTube is obviously my favorite for Googling everything and searching for everything. Go on there, figure out how to install Google Analytics to your website. Again, data is key, metrics are key. Get to know what these terms mean, like bounce rate, drop-off points, things like that. And you'd be surprised to know that most consumers nowadays, so I'll take a step back and give you a statistic on our attention spans right now. We live in a world that there is stuff going on everywhere. There's shiny objects everywhere. About 20 years ago, before everybody had a cell phone in their hand, we had the attention span of about 12 seconds, and a goldfish has an attention span of 9 seconds. And now, here in 2023, we have an attention span of only 8 seconds. So these bounce rates on your website are going to probably be like, okay, this person spent 53 seconds on your site. This person spent 45 seconds on your site. They're typically going to be less than a minute on your website. And that is no fault of your own. That is, there's pings and dings and Facebook messages coming in, text messages coming in, people going live on Instagram, commenting back on your stuff, emails coming in. People aren't at the point where they have that attention span to really look at your website for more than like a minute. So when you're building your website, when you're looking at your SEO, when you're looking at your Google Analytics, you want to make sure that that website is drawing them in right away, that you have that clear CTA or call to action right away, that they're able to book a consultation with you right away. And that's about how long they're spending on your site. So I know that it can seem really fun and enticing to want to do a whole rebrand and work with a branding agency on your website and your font and your logos and your colors and all that stuff. And if you're maybe 6 months, a year into business and you're like, okay, I'm not getting the leads that I want, I don't have the visibility I want, it's really easy to use your website as a crutch, like I did for many years, and just go and spend hours and hours reworking and retweaking and making this so pretty and doing a gallery and a carousel post and all this stuff, when the actual issue is probably just you're not being found. The thing to know with websites is if you build it, they will not come. You have to have other places where people are finding you, like Google, Yelp, Nextdoor, Find My Organizer, Thumbtack, Angie, all of these other things, Facebook groups, mom groups, all that good stuff, right? So anyway, key takeaways, check out Google Analytics, make sure that you install that on your website, learn more about SEO, join our Facebook group if you want to join the conversation in there. And then number 3, in the vault,